everyone, welcome to the next Christmas countdown or Advent picture. We have a letter to Santa today. Let's get started with our holly. What colour should I choose? Obviously green. Just picking a green. Let's start with an emerald green and go from there. This is some Polychromos, by the way. I'm using these for the whole of this page. Because they're smaller designs, Polychromos work really well. You can sharpen them to a good point, like that. And they hold their point fairly well as well, which I find very useful. So you don't have to keep sharpening them all the time. Yeah, I was thinking about what would I write? What would you write in a letter to Santa? What would you ask him for this year? I call him Father Christmas, by the way. Santa Claus is something that us Brits think is more of an American name for Father Christmas. I'm not really sure why, because I don't know if it is or not. I think, I was always brought up calling him Father Christmas. And so that's what I usually say. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, does it? We know who we're talking about. And yeah, I was thinking about what would I ask? Well, I don't really need anything much. You know, there's always a nice to have thing, but there's nothing that I really need. I think I would ask him if he could. He's very magical, isn't he? Maybe he could. I'm just looking for my dark phthalo green. Here it is. If he could make sure that everybody has a really super Christmas day, whether they celebrate or not, whether they're with family, friends, on their own, dark phthalo green, they might be at work, you know, just that everyone has a lovely day, that they have some time to relax, have fun, that sort of thing, even if they're not celebrating it, or if they're, you know, perhaps not doing what they would really want to do, if they could still find some joy. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah. And then also have all the little kids have something nice for them, you know. That's nice. I don't have any children to buy for anymore. So, I mean, my children, although I call them my children, they're 18, they're not really little children, but it's still nice to buy for them. What I'm doing is I'm trying to do similar to how we did the holly on the 4th. So a little bit darker on those edges, and then leaving a lighter bit, and it looks a bit like it's shiny, because holly is a very waxy, shiny plant, as I'm sure you all know. Oops, just hit my other pencil with my elbow. So this just gives that idea, but we're using a completely different selection of greens this time. It's nice to mix it up a bit, makes it more interesting for you. It means you don't keep using the same pencil all the time, which shortens your pencils rather, and just shows you a different idea. And if you prefer this colour, you know, you could use this one for other holly pages that you're doing, or you might not. You might prefer the sort of more olivey green that I used before. Okay, I'm going to go back to the emerald, do a little bit more of that. I'm just fiddling about, really. Just, yeah, bringing it together. Now the stem on the holly berries, I can never remember. I'm assuming it's the same colour as the leaves. I'm not sure. I mean, I could look it up, but I haven't got a device with me. I usually have, because I'm usually wanting to keep a track of my boys in case they need me for anything. I'm going to go back to the dark phthalo green for the stems. It's Saturday and they're here. So if they need anything, they can just knock on my door. But they're actually, one of them is about to live stream. Yeah. And the other one is supposed to be working, but I'm not sure how well he's going to do with his brother live streaming. But he's done quite well with his work this morning. Now berries, because we've done this bluey green, I'm thinking maybe we'll go for a more pinky red. On the other one we used a more orangey red. Why not? Let's try something different. So I'm thinking if we do a base of madder, which is more of a pink red, and then see where we get from there. I was just looking at the German on there, these Polychromos with all the words in German. I'm not going to say the word, but look what it says. Anyway, quite funny. No, I mustn't say naughty words. I used to say naughty words a lot as a child, and then when my son started saying it a lot, I picked it up, but I try not to really. I mean, that word isn't that naughty, but it's not very nice. I think it gives a bit of a negative feeling to you as well as the person it's aimed at. It's not very nice. So yeah, I try not to do that occasionally. But you know, when you stub your toe on the divan, ow, that hurts. That can bring out a few words. Right, I'm going for a darker red now. The dark red, in fact. I think and I'm going to put some darker strokes around the edge and pretty much at the bottom of our berries. They are quite small, a bit smaller than the ones we did before, a little bit trickier to see. I'm trying to move my head this way and that way. Okay, now that's all well and good, but what colour for our letter? Well, we could do it, you know, writing paper's very often white, but it doesn't have to be. I'm thinking, I thought pale blue, we've got such a lot of blue going on. A pink, a light red, craft paper brown. Yes, let's do that. Let's do a sort of craft paper brown envelope, but keep the letter white or ivory. I'm going to grab the ivory to do the letter. So this is, there he is. Now, if you're not using Polychromos, if you're using, for example, Prismacolors, then as you go over the writing, it could really obscure it quite a lot. And you might, I've smudged that red a little bit, but with a Prismacolor that'll smudge even more. So do be a little bit careful and think about it, because it can really obscure because it's not so transparent. So you could go back over it, or you might not mind if it's slightly faded. It's just a little touch of ivory. And then craft, I always find it quite difficult actually. I've set myself a hard challenge to make that sort of craft paper colour. I'm trying to look around and see if I've got any in here, and I haven't. So I'm going to have to just make a guess. I'm going to try the raw umber. I'm just going to do little circles, because I always feel like the paper has a bit of a texture almost. I don't know if I'm just imagining that. I think it's not a bad colour actually. Oh, excuse me. I've blown my nose, but I've got a pencil in my hand. It's a good excuse, isn't it? I would clean the house, but I've got a pencil in my hand. I would do the ironing, but I've got a pen. Oh dear. I'm quite good. I do the chores. I do colour a lot as well. It's good. It's fun. It's healthy. It's good for us. These are all good excuses. And reasons, not excuses. And this time of year particularly, it's hard to find the time to sort of just sit down and take a few minutes for yourself. So doing a little bit of colouring, even, you know, a small item, green gold, I'm going to go over the top, is it's really good for us. You know, just to have a few minutes sit down where you're concentrating on something that just takes your attention away from the stress. Sometimes it can be really stressful this time of the year. I think there's a lot of reasons. It's doing all the shopping, making sure you've got the right things for everyone and the food as well as the gifts. And then having a lot of visiting parties, different things like that which take up time that you then need to do everything else and super quick. You've got your gift wrapping to do, you've got to make sure you've got the right present for the right person and all that sort of thing. It can be quite a stressful time, and then there are other things. Some people don't have good memories associated with the time of year for various different reasons, so it can be quite tricky. This is the burnt umber. I'm going to use it to create just a small amount of shadow on our envelope. So just along here, I feel there might just be a little bit where that's glued down, just a tad. Then under this holly. So yeah, and even like, you know, the cooking, getting everything just right if you're entertaining or if you're visiting people, maybe having to go out and do things, and you know, I'm already feeling like I'm getting a little bit busier than normal, and I can feel a bit rushed and a little bit like, I think that bit should be green. It's too late, I've done it that colour now. You know, so just taking a few minutes, even if you don't have these, Johanna Basford's got a free advent calendar. There are advent pages in various books. Her Small Victories book, I'm going to do some shadow on the letter, got to be even lighter. Yeah, Johanna Basford's Small Victory book is good, but anything by Agotapop is good for this because they're, well, a lot of them are smaller designs. She does have some freebies as well which are small, so that's always good to look at. Okay, I'm just looking at that thinking, am I happy? I think I am. Oh yeah, I look up in the camera and now I'm happy. Now, normally on an envelope we would have a strip of shiny bitelic. I'm not going to try, you could put a bit of glue. If you've got like a thin glue pen, put a bit of glue on there, let it dry, you get that shine, or a glaze pen. But I don't have anything like that apart from a glitter glue. I don't really want it to be, imagine licking glitter. Ugh. No thank you, I'm not going to do that. Right, so now all we need is a background. I'm thinking I'd quite like to do yellow. Looking at what we've got going on around here, I don't think that's going to interfere with anything. I'm going to use, we did a sort of yellowy one up here, but I'm going to do a much lighter yellow, which is quite daring for me. I get a bit scared. Now I could either do orange to yellow or I could do brown to yellow. So I could do like the ochres. Oh, excuse me. Oh, the orange. But because we've got orange here and this is brown, I think we'll use the ochres. So I'm going to use all three. So of these, they look quite orangey in the camera. So we've got a light yellow ochre, a Naples yellow and a dark Naples ochre. So I'm going to start with the darkest because I find blending yellow quite difficult and it's easier to start with the dark for me. So this is the light yellow ochre, and I'm going to sort of do the corners and things with this. You can see even though this is the darkest one, it's pretty pale. So that's that corner, and then bring a bit down. Similar to how we've done the others. I'm just going to brush it off. I've got a few bits. There we go. There we are. Now if you don't have much time in a day to colour something and you're doing something like this, you don't have to do a background. You know, you could leave the background for another day or just not do one at all. This isn't necessary. It's just completely up to you, and if you find it a little bit stressful or it takes too much time, just don't, you know, just do the letter and you're done. You can watch me do it. I'm just going to blow my nose, I'm sorry. yeah, you can watch me do it and decide. Or you can just block it in. You could even use a pen to just do a yellow, use a yellow felt tip pen. You could, because this is a printout, you can use an alcohol marker too, but do test it first, because I don't know much about alcohol markers. This is the dark Naples ochre, but I think they can sometimes bleed a little bit, in that they sometimes sort of spread out a bit. So you put a bit there and it sort of spreads around, not that much obviously. So you need to check depending on the paper you're using. I also find that if you're using paper like Bristol board, which I used to use for my printouts, it's actually really rubbish for pen, for a wet medium. It's not designed for wet medium. I did a pen background, it sort of ate up all the paper, it went really nasty. So yes, do be careful as well. Make sure, like I'm using copy paper, so it would perfectly suit a pen. I just don't have any here because I don't use markers very much. This is Naples yellow. I know some people like to do a marker background and colour on top, and I've tried that a little bit. I just like pencils. You know, I'm going over everything with this, and I may need to darken up those corners again. I'm trying not to press too hard when I'm going over the corners or do too many layers, so I don't burnish it too much. So if I do need to layer up again with the slightly darker colours, I can do that. So if you put too much pencil down on the page, then there's no tooth left in the paper, so it's fully saturated effectively, and then you can't put any more in. I can hear that no one's bothered to check on the washing. My tumble dryer is finished. I need to go and sort that out in a minute. This is the light yellow ochre again. I'm just going to try and layer it up a little bit more in the corners, so that we've just got a bit more colour there. I think this gives a very nice warm look. I'm not sure our picture is that exciting though. I'm thinking about whether I can put some glitter on it somewhere to make it look a bit more festive. And the colours are festive, but just not much sort of going on. I've just finished fiddling with this, nearly done now. And I think we'll put some white on the berries to start with. I'm going to use the smallest Gellyroll because they are really small. I don't know if you can hear the noise in the background. My neighbour is doing some planing, sanding or cutting of some description. I think that just about shows up. And yeah, it's a bit noisy, but I know. I'm going to use a non-existent pen that I don't have in here. That's good, isn't it? I was going to put some gold dots all over the background just to make it a bit different, but I'm just going to do it with glitter. So this is the Gellyroll glitter pen number 700, which is the non-coloured glitter. And I'm just going to put dots, just for something different. And I think it'll just make it look a little bit more festive. As I say, I was going to do it in gold, but actually I don't think it would make a big deal of difference. But we did use a glitter pen, a metallic pen on our first ones, and then didn't use any more. Anyway, just depends what the picture calls for, really. Sometimes I don't want lots of glitter. There we go. Now I don't know how well you can see that, so I will just tip it to the light. So you can see it just looks like it's got glitter measles. There we go. I think that's okay though. I'm going to leave that one now. I quite like that warm background on it. We have got a stocking to do tomorrow. A full stocking. That seems a bit early, doesn't it? I would have thought that would have been at the end. But never mind, that's okay, we can colour a stocking, there'll be lots of fun. So anyway, thank you for watching today. Yeah, I hope you tune in tomorrow, but for now, thank you for watching and happy colouring.